Okay, for the July urban garden update, I always start out with this pot, which has elephant ears and cosmos in it. It's spent around because it's supposed to be thriller, filler, spiller, and I had it the reverse, so the elephant ears were really in the front and the cosmos were in the back. So when I turned it around, I think it presents a little better. I just keep a few leaves on here. I trim off, the oldest ones, and I let the newest ones come out. But those are in the back now. And then I have the cosmos in the front, which will have orange flowers on when they eventually bloom. Again, those seeds were brought back from the Philippines, and they're a much shorter plant here. And I don't know if it's because they're in a container, but there they were like at least 4 feet tall. Here, not so much, but they're doing well, and they're right at the stage of about to bloom. So there's all these heads here which eventually have beautiful orange blooms on them. The Rabia plant still doing good. There's a bee near my hand. Look at that. So, leave me alone. The nasturtium had vined out so much, it started to, the leaves were like really tiny, so I cut that off, and it just, boom, it looks good again. So when it vines out and it puts out flowers, just cut it way back, and then the leaves start to get bigger again, the plant gets healthier again. I stuck a Swiss chard in here, a red one, just because it was dying over in the vegetable garden, and I didn't want to throw it away. Yeah, the hosta still look good. It hasn't put out a blossom yet, which was like a long spiky plant. I meant flower. It hasn't done that yet because it's typically in the shade. I have my citronella plant. I have my ground cover here. I have the 3 hostas and the forsythia bush, which I'm slowly but surely cutting out. I put another Swiss chard there, a yellow one. Hopefully it does something. If not, it's fine. I had some annual plants here, which are marigolds, and then the Rabia. You get some pink ones here, which are looking pretty sad. It's because in the heat of the summer, so things aren't doing that well. I don't fertilize. Plants are what they are. The soil's pretty good. I supplement the water with, I supplement the plant watering with a hose, but it is what it is. It's a natural garden. I don't do too much sprinklers and drip systems and all of that stuff. I like plants that can stand it. These hostas are doing good, so next year I'll probably put a couple of more, maybe a big one in the back and then something else evergreen on the sides there. But it is what it is. I'm not in the business of spending a bunch of money on water or wasting a ton of money on drip and all that kind of stuff. You do something that's going to tolerate the drier periods. I have these elephant ears here. I don't know if it's a smaller variety or they're just a little stunted, but they're cool. They're holding down that corner right there. The hosta that was buried, it made a full recovery. It looks good. It doesn't look like those, but it's pretty close. It looks good, actually. Really good. And remember, it was white like snow because it was buried for a couple of weeks before I realized that I covered it up with the wheat paper and mulch, but it came back. I have the elephant there. This little guy it's hanging in there. I mean, it's doing good. The outside leaves are a little crispy because it's been really hot, but the inside looks good. I can come in there and trim out all of those, and it'll push back out again. And I think I may do that in a week or so. Apple tree looks good. It has some leaf spotting So I have to figure out what that is. It doesn't have aphids this year, because last year it had aphids. This year it's bug free, but it does have this leaf discoloration, and I'm not sure what that is. Some type of deficiency or something, but other than that, the tree is doing fine. I have it staked in here just to protect it from wind. But it was grown from a seed. It may never produce an apple, but it's very sentimental to me. Azalea bush, which is doing really well. The other plants over here, things are doing well. This one sits in the shade a little bit more, so it's a lot more healthier than the other one, but they both are great. And here we have the creeping Jenny, which is filling out quite nicely. Kids had a packet of I think these were Cosmos seeds, and we threw them in here, and they're planted and growing. So some Cosmos, a different variety of, it's like ferny, which is pretty cool. I like the foliage on it. It's nice. But as you can see, there's all those I guess they're maple trees, seedlings in there. And I'm not gonna pick them out. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. Hopefully the creeping Jenny just smothers them out once that completely takes over this area. I have the black-eyed Susan vine, which I really like the green on it, even if it never produced a flower, which they're like a hot pink flower. The leaves are really tropical and exotic. Look at that. It's like, the shape is amazing. So hopefully I can keep this alive until I can get some seeds from it, and then next year I'll plant it in the ground instead of in a pot, because I have to water it like every day. Otherwise the leaves are really wilted. It produced so much from that little bit. So I can only imagine if I planted it in the ground, it would have given me all that I wanted, which was a full coverage of that fence right here. So hopefully if I can get some seeds from this, I can do what I wanted next year, and that'll be great, because that foliage is, it's like super, something I've never seen before. And then that color of that flower is like awesome. What we have here is the morning glories have kind of taken over right here, which is pretty cool. I wish it was fully covered, but maybe it will. Once the heat of the summer goes away, it'll probably push out some more vines. There's like a cluster of vines right there, which really don't have a direction, you know, but it has a really deep purple flower on them. So it didn't do it quite what I wanted to do, but the idea was just to have that completely covered in green and flowers, and then the fence covered in flowers, and I thought that would be nice. So maybe next year it'll really take over. I have rhododendron here, which is kind of blending in with this other plant back here, which I don't remember the name, but as you can see, the flowers are prolific. They're these balls of like yellow and pink, and they keep producing flowers over and over and over and over again. It's a ground cover, and it's gorgeous, and it blends in with the rhododendron. And then I have the creeping Jenny here. And this whole area right here was a dead area, but it's becoming like one of my favorite areas because it's just wild, and you know, I don't have to attend to it. It will maintain. The creeping Jenny is like, it'll be here all winter. It'll get smashed under the snow, but as soon as the springtime comes, it just busts into life with this chartreuse green color here. And then I have this deeper color here with the yellow, so kind of like, it's like an ombre. So that'll be a nice little area back here. Hopefully those morning glories reseed themselves and come up again next year. I'll try to gather some seeds and do that same thing next year. And again, this fence here, hopefully I can get those the seeds that are growing there and complete that whole fence by getting rid of the pot and planting them in the ground. And then this area just would be a nice lush flowers that kind of like takes care of itself. I threw some morning glories over here too. They're kind of struggling. But I wanted this whole fence to be taken care of. I just wanted this area to be green and just flowers and just really really lush. But it'll be better next year. It's good now. Maybe in a couple of weeks or so, once, like I said, the dog days of summer are over, it gets a little cooler. Maybe it'll fill out a little more and this thing pushes more flowers and it'll just be kind of cool back here. I had these boots here which had one of those black-eyed Susan vines in it, which is kind of cool. I wish it was more, but I guess it's not very much soil, so it kind of like just limited to one little vine. The weeds from the neighbor's yard are pushing through the fence here. That's fine. And then in here I have Cosmos. I have some sedum ground cover, evergreen ground cover. I have the variegated nasturtium on both sides here, and the other boot. And you know, it's a little strange, but it's cool. And then we come out of here. Oh, this pathway here, it was like being overtaken by green. It was like clover and just like really just more green than path. So I took some extra rock salt and some calcium chloride, the white stuff that you use for snow removal, and I put it on in clumps on everything, and it completely dried it up. It dehydrated the plant to the point where it just went away, and the path is much better. So that's a good little technique, using something that's not a chemical, and water kind of like washes it away eventually. I'm sure it'll grow back, but it was very little effort to just put the salt down and just knock back the weeds a little bit without too much damage. So that's kind of cool little trick there. I have these elephant's ears here in the corner, which kind of like that corner, I guess. They're doing quite nicely. So that's the whole corner over there. Flies, the dog shit is drawing the flies. I'm trying to be woo-sa about it, but you know, it's only so much you can take. I don't have a dog. The neighbors do, and it's okay. Kumbaya. So I had string beans here, which were great, sweet. They eventually, you know, stopped, so I pulled those out. I have my squash that is taking over here, which I knew it was going to come around here, and it's going to go out there over in the radish area, which are gone too, so that'll take over that area. So I have the squash. Back there I have the cucumber. Back there I have the kale, curly kale. I have a tiny little carrot bed here. I have onions and some couple of radish, and my tomatoes, which are doing great. I have tomatoes everywhere. Look at the size of that tomato. I have really big hands, so that's a big ass tomato. It's gorgeous. It's perfect. I gotta take a picture of that. The tomato is gorgeous, and they're everywhere. So this is two types of tomatoes here. I think this is a beefsteak on this side, and then these are like cherry tomatoes on that side. So that's that. I have a couple of zinnia plants in here. This is the only one that has bloomed so far. And then my pumpkin. My pumpkin, which is that a weed? Yes, it's a weed. Weeds everywhere. But the pumpkin plant is I don't want to step on it. It's doing okay. It's doing okay. I don't see any blossoms. It needs some good rain. There was a couple of leaves with powdery mildew on it. A couple of these are looking a bit speckly, but it look pretty good. Like, here we are. This one has like the powdery spots on it. As soon as I see that, I simply come under here. Let me get my clippers. I take my clippers and I go and I find it, and then I just cut it off, because that mildewy stuff, as you can see there, it spreads. So you can get rid of it. It's a good leaf. It looks good. I've seen worse in a pumpkin patch, but I don't want it to spread because I don't have very many opportunities with this thing. There's going to be probably just maybe one pumpkin if we get one. So I want to give it its best shot. So yeah, I just cut those off. Here's another one that kind of have a little bit of speckle on it, and I just go down and I cut that off, and I remove that, and it looks good so far. Other than that, that's the backyard. Things are looking good. Peace of blessings and all of that good stuff. Everybody stay cool and peace out.